Hello everybody, Sander here. So this is kind of my annual video I put out in June. Other than being Pride Month, it's a big anniversary for me because it's the month when I started to figure out something wasn't quite right and began this journey of figuring out my gender. And that was 7 years ago. It was June of 2015 when I watched that movie Tomboy and really clicked with me that I'm not cis. It was 7 years. In some ways, it went by fast. Other ways, I'm still kind of like, wow, that took a long time. It's been a long time. I've changed a lot in a lot of ways. So I just can still see myself going to the park and sneaking like 5 cigarettes with my head down, just in excruciating pain and discomfort, knowing something wasn't right with the way my life was, that my body wasn't right. There was something just off and trying to figure out what it was and imagining my family throwing me out on the street if I came out as trans or whatever I was. It hurt. And I wish I could explain to people who are cis what that feels like, whether it's our sexuality or gender. It's like, the way you're living your life isn't right. There's something off. And then when you find who you are, it's such a relief. And suddenly it's like, I can breathe again. It's a freeing feeling to know who you are. And I think in life, we're always trying to figure out who we are. And we probably by the end of it don't always know exactly who we are. But it's such a big step to accept our identity. It wasn't as hard for me to accept that I was a lesbian. And I think that's because I knew about lesbians. And when I was with her, the first girl that I fell in love with, that I always will love, when I was with her, it was the most right feeling in the world. Like, I knew that having her in my arms was where I was supposed to be. That's who I was supposed to be. And I think that because of that, it really wasn't difficult for me to accept that I was a lesbian. But gender, I didn't know anything about gender. I knew nothing. Like, I did know about trans women, but I didn't even know trans guys were a thing. I was 21 years old when I was like, really? That's a thing? There's just not enough representation in this world for people that aren't cis. Like, and then my family, of course, they wouldn't talk about it. They didn't know it. I didn't know about non-binary and gender fluid and all that. I didn't know any of that. So I was there 7 years ago knowing this is not right. Cis woman is wrong without knowing what could possibly be right. So it was so painful for me because I was in the dark. I just knew I hated the skin I was in so much. I hated it. And then finally the pieces started to come together after talking to therapists and forums and the wonderful internet that practically saved my life and all that. So I was able to, make a lot of stuff with that. But I was just thinking back and thinking, what's changed in the last 7 years? Do I still question my gender, or do I feel like I have 100% found it? I admit I still struggle occasionally. Not because I think I might be cis, but because I sometimes think I might be trans. When my guy side is in full roar and it is going, and I am wanting top surgery and facial hair and wanting he, him pronouns and saner and everything, yeah, I sit there and think, wow, this is so intense. This is so strong. Maybe I'm trans. Maybe I'm not at all any kind of feminine. Maybe I'm just straight up trans. And then the feminine side will come back and everything's good. But I still have those moments where I just feel like such a guy that it makes me wonder. Because I did really think I was trans for a while, like a couple months-ish, until I really found out what gender fluid was. So I can't say I've completely stopped with the questioning on that. Do I still want top surgery? As I just said, yes, I do. It's not something that I actually foresee myself getting anymore, even though like 4 years ago I thought I was going to go through with it, but life happens. So that didn't. But no, do I still want that occasionally? Yeah. Facial hair? Yeah. All that. Do I still struggle with my pronoun situation? Every fucking day of my life. Because I have no one in my life right now that says he, him, Sander. I get none of that. Now that the open mic is over, I don't have anybody in my life that sees me as Sander. So that totally sucks. My best friend randomly moved to Kentucky a few years ago. Like, we never talk anymore. So I wish I could get he, him pronouns more, especially when I'm at work. Right now, I have a manager that calls me Miss. And oh my God, he's a very nice guy. He's being very polite, but I hate that. I hate Miss so much. I prefer Sir. I don't mind she and her pronouns, really. I don't. But for some reason, Miss, that bothers me. And ma'am, that kind of bothers me. I prefer Sir. I, don't ask me to explain it because I don't know it myself. I have no idea. But no, still struggle with that. Do I still struggle with dating? Oh my God. Yes, I do. I Being a gender fluid lesbian has sucked. Like, it has genuinely sucked. Because so many times if I say I'm gender fluid, the chick thinks I mean trans, assumes I have a dick, and then refuses to talk to me and calls me a liar when I say I don't. And I have to be like, I'm a biological female, yo. I am biological female. It's just I have a guy side. That's all. But for some reason, that freaks a lot of chicks out. I did try to go to a lesbian singles mixer thingy. It was online. I guess they started during the pandemic and they kept it online. Yeah, that was an experience. Over half of the people there were over the age of 60. Now, I like older women, but that's pushing it. That's pushing it. I do not want a granny. Thank you very much. One of them was 86 years old. 86-year-old lesbian talked about dancing naked. It was rather disturbing. And the meeting got jacked by these teenage boys, and they thought it was so funny to show straight porn on a lesbian meeting. So got to see a lot of penises that night in a lesbian chat. That was good job, guys. So hilarious. And just it was really graphic. Like, and one of the ladies was a trans lady. She kept talking about how she wants a vagina. Yo, call it bottom surgery, please. Because that's like getting a little crude, in my opinion. If we're having a little singles mixer, why do you gotta? At least she didn't say pussy, I guess. I guess that's one of the positives here. But it was just, even the young ones, like, I had nothing in common with them. And the whole time I'm sitting on this call, I keep thinking to myself, when do I tell them I'm gender fluid? Should I tell them now? Like, before things go further? Is that something that you don't bring up until a couple dates in? Like, when is the proper time to mention that? So I was just sitting there thinking, how do I bring that up? How do I approach that? Because like I said, the few times I've tried, it's ended terribly. So yeah, no, dating is still, I haven't figured that out yet. I haven't figured it out. Like I said, lucked out with my last ex because she was pansexual, so she didn't really care one way or the other. I think I had it on my dating profile, but that was 5 years ago, and that relationship was a disaster. So it'd be really nice to, get into a healthy relationship for once. Would be lovely, but I still am trying to figure that whole situation out because I do belong to some lesbian groups on Facebook, or tried to join, and because my Facebook page is Sandra Mason, they think I'm a guy and won't let me in. And the one LGBTQ singles group I joined, I got hit on by a bunch of gay men because they think I'm a guy. So I can't use my Facebook. I'm just like, this is, yeah, no. No. So that's still a problem. Yes, absolutely. So what has changed though? I guess is a good question in 7 years. What has changed? I would say what's changed is that I'm definitely more chill about having the ebbs and flows of my gender, not sexuality, of my gender. I feel like before, anytime I would feel a shift in my gender one way or the other, I'd freak out and start thinking, oh, I feel feminine today. Am I cis? So I feel masculine. I think I've really accepted the fact that I do have these kind of fluid moments. And that's not something I really accepted before. It really scared me. Um, my relationship with my family has gotten better in some ways since I came out. My mom and I go round and round still occasionally about certain things. Like, she doesn't think kids should be exposed to different genders until they're like teenagers. So she doesn't think that a kid should be told what non-binary is and all that when they're in school. In fact, she said if we were told that in school, she would have stormed over there and cussed the principal out. Now, why gender is inappropriate for children, I don't know, because as I mentioned earlier, I didn't know anything about gender. So when I did have my gender crisis, I was in the dark and it was terrifying. If someone had explained to me sooner what non-binary was and what gender fluid was, I don't think I would have freaked out. And if anything, I would have figured my life out a lot sooner. I really don't count my life as being good until I came out as gender fluid, until the last, you know, 7 years of my life. Before that was hell, and I didn't know who I was. And once I came out as both lesbian and gender fluid, I learned who I am. That's what's changed, is I finally know exactly who I am and how I identify. My brother was saying, labels are a bad thing because then we're, making our groups even smaller and we're like, I guess, dividing ourselves. And I tried explaining to him the importance that some people have for labels. Some people don't need labels. Some people don't like labels, and that's totally fine. But for me, having a label, knowing that I am this thing called gender fluid, it's like a breath of fresh air. And it's a way of knowing what I am is valid, and there are other people like me. There are other gender fluid people out there. And that is such a comfort to me to know I'm not alone, that my gender is a thing. It's real. It's not just in my head. So, yeah. Anyway, yeah, 7 years this. 7 years. I've had this vlog going about 7 years now. I started it, I think, like August or September of 15, and I've been posting videos since then, and it's been wonderful to have this outlet and a place to come and talk, and it's been even more wonderful to see all you great subscribers out there and people watching the videos and such. It means a lot to me. It really does. So I can't thank you enough for putting up with me, my silliness, my talking. I hope that some of what I've said might be a help to you, that you also know you're not alone, that there are people that feel the same way. And if after 7 years I can say, this isn't a phase, this is who I am, this is what makes me happy, to say I am gender fluid, I am Shelly and Sander, she and her, this is me, and I can feel this happy about it. It's just a testament to saying that if you are struggling right now with your gender or your sexual identity and you're really having a hard time, it gets better. It really gets better. And it's okay if you question and if you change your labels and, you're trying to figure yourself out. It's a process. It is a long process. It's a hard process. It's something that, you know, some people have to go through, and it sucks, but you will come out on the other side feeling so much better and more comfortable in your own skin. It'll happen. I believe it. I believe it'll happen. If you're going through that, it'll happen for you. I never thought it would happen for me. 7 years ago was like, I'm going to end up thrown out of the house, and all this stuff. And it's just, things have turned out so much better than I thought. So there's hope. There is absolute hope. Thank you so much for watching this. All y'all are awesome, and catch you later.